everyone, and welcome to Sunday Special. So today I've got a special guest, Barrie John. Now I've spoken to Barrie John a few times. He even taught me development as well for a while, which is brilliant. So yeah, that was a while ago, wasn't it?
A long time ago, yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is, we've known each other for a long time now, haven't we? That's the scary bit on it. I know I'm jumping off, but earlier I posted a load of pictures. I was looking through my photos, and I thought I'm going to post some pictures, and somebody commented on one, and I said, "Do you realise I was 32 there, and that was 18 years ago now?"
Yeah, I saw them photos. Oh, look, you look quite cute, didn't you?
Oh, don't be stoppy.
I know. I think everyone ought to do that. It's so funny. I think everyone ought to do what Barry's done. Like he's posted photos from when he was, I don't know.
Oh gosh!
Now
I think I was 30. Some of them, maybe even before that, I posted a few. But yeah, it does make me chuckle a little bit.
Cheers for that.
It really does. But see, we've got quite a few people joining us.
Yeah, that's it. Hiya, welcome. So basically, we're just doing different sort of show. Anyway.
Hold on, that's me. I'm trying to share it out, Jackie, and I've just
there's always one, isn't there? It's usually me actually. So I'll check first.
You can blame me for it.
So I've spoken to Barrie a few times. Going to put it out there. If you've got any silly questions you want to ask, hi Dave. Hope you're okay. So yeah, if you've got any questions, so like favourite foods, things like that. What's your strangest paranormal experience then, Barrie?
Oh gosh, well, the one that's freaked me out the most. Do you know what? I always remember this one. This would have been at Plesley Vale Mills many years ago.
Oh, never been.
Some people know Plesley Vale Mills.
Oh.
I did an event there, and I remember being on the top floor on my own, and all I could hear were these doors rattling. And I thought, do I just sit down here and scream, or do I run like a screaming banshee around the building? And I remember it was so complicated because the building is like a big square. But trying to get out is just a nightmare. And I remember, you know what I'm like. I'm the biggest wimp in the world. I have to be honest, because, I have a couple of those rules, and my classic rules have always stood. If a door's closed, it's closed for a reason. And if it is, you push a woman through first, and it's never let me down. But, I am the biggest wimp. If anything happens, trust me, I'll be out that room. I'll climb over people. I'll get through a door that's locked if I need to. But yeah, so Plesley Vale Mills many years ago, and I mean that must be 20 years ago now, probably more. Probably more. I mean, we used to go and play in Plesley Vale when we were young kids, so we've certainly had a bit of a laugh in buildings like that.
Oh, it's a brilliant location. I'm just sorry I missed it. I really am, because it is now open, isn't it?
There are so many tremendous venues out there, and people always ask me. They always go, "What's your favorite venue?" And do you know what? In all honesty, it's hard to put a finger on it because I think it depends on what happens on the night. So I mean, I'm always going to go with the Galleries of Justice at Nottingham or the Natural Justice Museum. I'm probably going to go for. I don't know, probably the Skirrid Inn in Abergavenny, because I think it's a beautiful place. I think it's lovely. And then, and I've just forgot the name of it, Newsham Park Hospital in Liverpool as well. I love it. Absolutely love that place.
I'd love to go.
Oh, Jackie, God, you must go. It's great. On the top floor, they've got all these cupboards, and they always say it's where they used to put the children and shut the doors. But it's just tremendous. I love things that have sort of energy to them, and I remember the first time I went there, somebody said to me, you can go in the morgue, and I thought, oh gosh, this is going to be great. This old morgue, big ovens and things like that. And it was nothing like what I imagined. It was just a very dark room, really, with like some fridges in. But, I love things. I've loved the paranormal for so long. And I think to have an experience, anybody, not just me, but anybody to have an experience on the paranormal, it's really precious, isn't it? It's that one thing that you want. It really is.
Yeah. And once you're really into it, I think most people are here, Sarah Edwards, she goes out, Dave, Ali, I'm not sure if you go out regularly. Shelley goes out. Scott Matthewson, hiya, how you doing? He goes out, and a lot of people watching actually go out. So we go out frequently, and we do get experiences, and yeah, you know, you can explain them to people you know, but to speak to someone at work is like, oh, really?
Yeah.
What? It's just,
You know, I mean, I was saying this, and by the way, it's great to see some well-known faces in the room. You know, I mean, people that I do recognise. I mean, I know Shelley's there, Scott's there. I recognise Dave as well. I recognise probably a few of you who follow me on Facebook and are friends on Facebook. But I was saying this the other day. I mean, people know that I work at Newstead Abbey, and I remember one day unlocking the house. Now, I mean, it's the spookiest place when you're unlocking it. But I was unlocking the house, and somebody called my name down the corridor. All right. And I swear blind, there was nobody else in that house. We all have radios because of how big the place is. And there was nobody else in the place. And somebody called my name down a corridor. Now, whoever that was, I have no idea. And I didn't really stay around that long to find out. I have to be honest.
oh wow, bless you. Yeah, like I was there, Civil War music, Newark
Oh, yeah,
Civil
knew
War
it.
Museum,
Yeah.
and that was so funny. So there's a team there, and then there was Tom Warrington, and we're all in this. We seem to be in one of the exhibition rooms,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then there was a door which was like a little mini cinema thing, and there seemed to be a lot happening in there. So we decided to go and sit in that room. And you carry on with the story then.
I remember this. This
This
wasn't
is too
funny. This
funny.
really was not funny.
And there was footage.
It
Yeah,
was, you know, that was the weirdest thing in the world, wasn't it? I mean, I'm not a little
it's too
guy.
funny.
People that know me. I mean, I'm
Your
I'm
face.
6'5". I'm a big guy, and I remember we were sat in that room, and I don't know what made me do it. What made me do it? Can you remember? I just said I'm going to sit in front of the doors,
The door
didn't I?
wouldn't close.
Was that what it was?
I just spilled Coke. I just missed
Oh,
it
that's
out.
all right. Don't worry. As long as it's only Coke. So I remember I sat in front of the doors to hold the door shut. And we were all right, weren't we, for a while? It was
Yeah,
okay.
we're
We
just
were
calling
calling
out.
out. We were whatever, you know, we were doing various things. And suddenly, I don't know how to say it, suddenly it was just like somebody forced the door open, didn't they? And forced me off the chair.
Yeah.
And I remember, was it Tom who had the camera outside the room?
Yeah, Tom
Somebody
had
did.
actually put a camera the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. And you actually saw, didn't you?
You'd
The
actually
doors
put it
being
out,
almost
yeah.
pushed open.
Yeah, and you could see
And really
nobody was
weird.
doing it.
Yeah, really
And then you
weird. But
could
yeah,
hear
that freaked me out.
you could hear all our voices as well. Like you
Yeah,
knew it
yeah.
wasn't, you knew it was real because it's like, what the hell's happened? It was just
Oh
too
God,
funny,
yeah,
wasn't it?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. You know, and that was brilliant. But you see, those experiences for me are so precious because
They are.
it doesn't happen all the time. And this is what I can't emphasize to people enough when they go on events. You know, sometimes you'll go, and I'll be very honest, it's flat. There's nothing happening, okay? But other times you'll go and everything just seems to kick off all in one go.
Yeah.
And yes, I totally accept a lot of that could be people's imaginations. I accept that people probably create a lot of the things themselves as well. And there's nothing worse than when you're in a position on your own, you create your own fear as well.
Oh God,
And,
yeah.
and I love that. I love that. You know, I love it when you're there and the adrenaline rush hits you and you think, oh my God, something's going to happen. What's going to happen? You know, and I think for me, you know, some of the funniest times, I mean, I remember doing a place called Fox Denton Hall in Manchester, and it was with a good friend of mine, Denise Mott. And we were doing Fox Denton Hall. And I remember we were upstairs in basically like almost like a little sitting room, and it was really small. And we're in there, and Denise was in the doorway. And the next thing, all she did was scream. She was then on her backside, falling down the corridor as though she was being dragged. And you know, when you're actually at that point of thinking, I don't know whether to laugh here, or I don't know whether this is serious paranormal work. And I think it's just so funny. I really do. And I'm sorry, I have an awful sense of humor. You know, people's expense, I will laugh at, even my own expense. Yeah, I will laugh at. And I think when things have happened to people, first of all, you get over that initial shock and you go, all right, okay, yeah, all right, that was scary. And then suddenly you can't get over it after that. It's almost like the funny side steps in and you think, for God's sake, you know, what happened there? but, you know, I mean, let's be honest. The one thing that we all want is we want to have that experience, that one experience where something happens, where you go, I cannot explain that. And probably for me, that's why I started sitting for physical mediumship, which we seem to get a lot of things happen in physical mediumship that really did become quite sort of spooky in a way. You know, we used to get hands formed in the circle. We used to hear babies cry in the room when none of us had got children. You know, it was just weird. It was really, really weird at times. But, you know, that's another route of it, isn't it?
That intrigues me. Like,
Is it?
anybody who knows me, I've been booking locations and will go. But what I like to do is doing an energy circle, and anything can happen. Very often does.
Oh, do you know? I mean, I remember it.
Often one of us at a time just get picked off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
it's just a favourite. It really,
And
you can't deny
always,
it.
Well, you can always guarantee it's the ones that probably don't believe to start off with that suddenly get picked up on.
But these are generally experienced people.
Oh,
so the events
then.
I do, then like everyone is experienced who's done it.
Yeah.
If they're not, I think Julie Edwards came to one.
Oh,
yeah, it's a bit probably a bit different from what she expected. And Rachel Farrow recently had an encounter. But yeah,
big shout out to Rachel. Rachel, love her to bits. Fantastic medium. She won our Derek Okora Memorial Award last year. Okay. She's worked with me. She did an event with me earlier this year, very local to my home, actually, or area local. And she was brilliant. So Rachel, big shout out to her. I love her to bits. I can see Von's in there as well. Love Yvonne to bits. My twin brother's in there, the ugly one, I've noticed as well. Phil Newton's joined us.
And we've got Shelley.
And obviously Shelley's there as well. Shelley's been a massive help to me over the years. She really has. Yeah. She's helped me so much in just everything. You know, I cannot thank Shelley enough. She's a diamond. She really is. But yeah, hello to everybody. Sorry, I'm not ignoring her.
Shelley's doing so well at the moment as well.
Yeah.
Julie said it's the best night ever. Yeah,
it's lovely.
When I book locations, we don't do things by halves, and if something happens, it can happen quite big. But yeah,
you know, I really, I mean, my heart will always be the paranormal. It always will. You know, I loved it. I mean, I was into the paranormal in the 90s when we used to go off as little groups and go and play in buildings that we probably shouldn't have done. But, you know, I really, really loved it. And I think when certain TV programs came out and made it an interest to people, that's where things really, really started happening for others. And, you know, I mean, ever since for me, probably the late 90s, early 2000s was where it just went wild. It went absolutely mad with the paranormal because everybody wanted to go and do something. And I noticed, I forgot who it was now. I think, well, I met you a long time ago. Don't mention that because that shows how old we are. Yeah. I think Dave mentioned earlier about equipment and, you know, some of the new equipment.
Wait a minute. There we go. I've got another comment from Dave. There's about 3 comments I need to go back to.
Do you know, I mean, this is sorry.
How do you feel on the subject of ITC or devices such as REM? A believer for one's senses.
Do you know, I mean, I'm going to go back to the good old days. Sorry how I say that. That makes me sound as though I'm going back to like pre-war times. But I want to go back to the good old days, you know, when we didn't have any of that. You know, all we had were things like pendulums, dowsing rods. Maybe if we were lucky, we had a K2 meter or an EMF meter. That was it. But really what we had were ourselves, our individual selves. And, you know, when we worked with groups and when I used to work with groups, some people would be sensitive. Some of them would be totally skeptical and have as much paranormal experience as a banana. Or you'd have people who were quite advanced. And, you know, I miss those days. I miss the days of the way that I want to call it is the proper paranormal, because I think it's great having the equipment and I love it. I love that we've got so much stuff nowadays, but it almost seems to take the originality away from it, of mediumship for me, of somebody picking something up and communicating. And I think it's great that, you know, we can see an image on camera or we can get things recorded. I mean, voice recordings, you know, I love it. I love listening to voice recordings. I think, again, there's a lot of it, and we've spoke about this before, haven't we, Jackie, where the imagination takes over a lot of the time, especially with things like the good old, broken radios, etc., as I like to refer to them, where, you can be sat in a room and somebody will go, oh, did you hear that? And I think, no, I didn't hear a thing. And suddenly they go, oh, it gave a name. No, it didn't. I didn't hear anything. I'm saying, if spirit are going to communicate, I want them to be clear, not say it in a muffled voice that people think, oh, I don't know whether that's what it is or what. So I think wonderful. I mean, I remember it, funnily enough, again, we did an event at a place where a friend of mine lived not too far away in Smolde Stables, and I took some guys with me to do that. And we had a REM pod and we set it up in like an attic room. And the weird thing was, in that room, I am not kidding you, there was nothing. It was just an empty room. And all we kept getting was Morse code on it. Okay, that's the only way to say it. It was like, it wasn't even a continual beep, or it wasn't it wasn't unusual. It was weird. It was almost like it was picking up some sort of military signal of some kind. Okay, so I love it. I love equipment. I think I don't want us to lose the originality of what we always created as being mediums, because my heart will always lie with mediumship. But I think certainly if you can use mediumship combined with equipment, I think great, let's do it, because I think it teaches us all so much. And people that know me for years, I've worked with some very knowledgeable characters in the market, especially from universities. And the one thing I would love, I really, really want to have behind us, is the scientific proof of what we do isn't all a load of rubbish, that something is certainly happening to us when we go into altered states, where it becomes provable, and where we have an element of professionalism about that as well.
Yeah, but Dr. Cal Cooper's doing a lot of that, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Flotation. I know he's a good friend of yours, and he's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, tremendous.
Oh, right, this is weird. A dog in the room with you. Okay, there's a dog snoring, but he's not that loud.
It's not me, I promise you. My dog's behind me and he's fast asleep and he isn't snoring.
Rocky, wake up.
Don't wake him up.
That's it. He's not snoring anymore.
Oh, bless him.
So we'll see.
But I mean, it's interesting. Sarah there said, she misses those days, where we seem to have more experiences, and I think we did. And I think what Sarah's referring to is, when little things happened, whether it be, I don't know, a noise, a tap, a knock, we were really excited. Whereas now when we look at that and go, oh, is that all it is? Whereas it's still an element of paranormal activity, isn't it? And I think TV takes over a lot of it. Movies take over.
Oh,
and
gosh, yeah.
You expect to see what we see on movies. We really do.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, everyone, by the way.
There's so many joining us. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I did get a question earlier as well. Where is it? I'm just going back now. We've got so many comments. We had a question from Carl. What's the best place that stands out for you?
Oh, now I'm going to be really biased. Can I be really biased now? I'm going to be really biased. I'm going to say Newstead Abbey. Sorry. Yeah. I've got to say Newstead.
You've got a relative there, so
absolutely, yeah. I've got some real strong links to Newstead Abbey. But Newstead, for me, when I started working there 5 years ago, and really, cut a long story short, I retired from my own company, not the paranormal side, from my legal side in about 2018. I decided that I wanted to chill. I decided I wanted to take time out. So I became a volunteer at Newstead, and then in a matter of months, I suddenly became a tour guide. And I've got to say, Newstead for me will always hold my heart. I mean, I love opening the house. I love closing it. I love talking to people about the historical side of it, even the ghost side of it that we've all felt and seen there as well. And I mean, recently I was just talking to Jackie about it. I'm now a tour guide at Welbeck Abbey as well, near me, not too far away. And again, another tremendous place, and I've got to say, in my sorry, I'm going to say this, my older days, okay, my older years that I'm getting to now, my mature years, let's call it that.
You're past 50.
Yeah. I'm getting more interested. Thank you, Jackie. For that
It's
one.
all right.
I'm getting
Pleasure.
more interested in history, okay? And I love history now. You know, I mean, I go to places now to visit them for the historical value, not necessarily paranormal. But the thing that I love about it, when you start delving into history and you start getting some of the weird stories coming out of the woodwork, and then you start looking at the paranormal element, it almost gives you a bit more of a buzz because you think, God, if we got that through, that would be terrific. So, biased, I'm going to say Newstead Abbey. Second, I'm going to say Welbeck because I'm going to be working there as a tour guide very soon as well.
Wow.
But you know, some tremendous places. I mean, goodness me, you know, over the years, I mean, gosh, I've done everything from top to bottom of the country. Edinburgh, I've done South Coast, I've done London, I've done Wales, you know, you name it. And I love it all. I really do. Even abroad, you know, I mean, you know, the one thing that I love about abroad is when you get there and you do a private demonstration or a mediumship reading for people, and they're really shocked because people don't believe that spirit can travel across water, for a start. And I love when you're doing readings and you bring somebody's parent, grandmother through. You know, I mean, I have very limited language experience nowadays. I mean, I learned Latin many years ago. Well, I don't think anybody really speaks Latin nowadays. And then I learned a little bit of German and French. And I couldn't really get myself by, I have to be honest now. But when you're over there and spirit are talking to you in my native language, so if I'm in Germany and they're talking to me in English, and then it's being translated back into German for me by a translator, and it's really weird. It really is weird. But spirit will talk to me in my native language. You know, you got to remember, it's that voice vibration what we pick up on all the time. It really is.
Oh, it is brilliant. I love spirit. It's weird because it's only recently they've been touching me. So, you know, I don't know if it's a new skill or what, I don't know. But I did a Estes method a bit ago, well, about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they put the blindfold and headphones on and said, whatever you do, don't tap me on the shoulder. A couple of minutes into it, someone tapped me on the shoulder and it weren't a person. then the week after, I went somewhere and something had his fingers right across the back of her.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know? I mean,
that was weird. And
yeah, I've got to say. I mean, do you know? I don't know whether you remember this, Jackie. Do you remember the night cell at the Galleries of Justice? It was the old cell on sort of the first level, and I remember being in there with a group once, and there was a girl in there with us, a young girl. She was probably only early 20s, something like that. And I remember that all of a sudden she screamed, and we all thought, God, what the hell's gone off, you know? And all she said was, my bracelet's just been undone off my wrist and it's fallen on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't even broken. It wasn't broken. It literally just, I don't know what you'd say. It just come off the wrist and fell on the floor. But you could see where it had got a clasp on it. So it had to be undone to get it onto the floor because it was too tight. And, you know, I used to love that little cell. You know, I thought the most weirdest experiences used to happen in there.
I think that's where on my first ever ghost hunt we went in this cell. And it was at the end of the night. It's 2003. First ever encounter.
Gosh.
And it was the end of the night and we were a bit bored and we didn't really know what we should be doing. And somebody walked by because I think people are just allowed to go to the toilet when... you know, with anyone. So I just walked by and what a girl in the cell I was in screamed.
I mean, I'm just reading.
It just made the night all night, basically.
Oh,
not something I'd do now, but you know what I mean? It was at the time it was kind of funny.
Do you know one of the things that I do love is I think as a country, I think we're very spoilt with our historical values and historical venues that we've got. And I think a lot of people that come from abroad, they come to us, and especially if they go somewhere like Newstead. I mean, you're talking 800 years old, excuse me. And especially Americans come and they can't believe how old the place is. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and I love getting them to touch a wall and then going, do you realise that wall's like 800 years old? So it's really, really interesting when you talk about it. And somebody's mentioned Annesley Hall, a friend of mine, Sarah. And I've done Annesley Hall many, many years ago. And I think you have, Jackie, haven't you? You've done Annesley.
Well, it was a bit of a farce, to be honest.
Oh,
It had just been on Most Haunted, basically.
yeah.
So Richard was there going around doing a tour, and like hundreds of cars turned up. Like back in the day, we didn't sell tickets, so like just everybody just turned up to it. So
Oh, God.
it was more, so it's just solid. But
Annesley.
the first time I did the glass in the cellar, so I did that. But like you could hardly reach it because, but I'm glad I went. I did a sleepover there as well.
Oh God!
But yeah, but
I remember.
Was more the security what was dubious than anything else. To be fair,
I remember the good old days when we used to do ghost hunts and you used to get there in the evening and you used to have a buffet, and then you'd stay all night, and then you'd have bacon cobs or sausage cobs in the morning before you left again. And we used to get home. We used to get home at something like lunchtime the next day. I mean, we were absolutely shattered. We really were. But Annesley Hall, lovely venue. I mean, I've got to agree with what people are saying. It's heartbreaking that it fell into such a
I don't know what's going on with it. It's got a roof on it.
I know, and that's the problem because
they are working on it.
They are, yeah. But if you remember a few years ago, they had another fire, and that seemed to take out the majority of the inside of the building. But I don't know how bad.
Yeah, because they've not. If you go up to where the church is, the building bit alongside at the side, that's been knocked down. Part of the back's been gone.
Right.
Some of it has, and they put the roof on the. Yeah, so that
absolutely. Do you know somebody was just mentioning
on it quite a lot?
Yeah, I mean they've just said here it's a shame when the whole building's basically getting knocked down. Mandy Bell, and I agree with you, Mandy. I mean I think it's heartbreaking because we will never, ever, ever be able to have that history again. Once it's gone, simple as. And I think as paranormal people, we don't just go for the paranormal element, we go for the historical value as well. And that's what I love to see and hear. I really do, the historical value.
Yeah, be scared, be very, very scared, Rachel.
Yeah, I would, Rachel, yeah.
That's
run a mile, run.
I've got a massive issue at the National Justice Museum. It's to do with my past life regression, I think.
Oh, dear.
Last time I went, he jumped me in where the cell is, where the women give birth.
Yeah.
The spirit kind of got very close. I was with Mark Dudley and Kaz Evans as well, and we sort of got rid of him, but then he was still there. So I kind of walked up to the base room like a drunk person. You know how you've got to A to B, and I don't know how I managed it because it's amazing there anyway.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got up there, Viv marched me out because she said, "Your eyes are black, that's not you." And that's right in front of Brian J. Kano as well. So yeah, if you got
we seem to have somebody stalking in your chat room, Jackie.
Oh, what we got?
Venus Rising.
Oh, okay. Oh God, really? Wow, I've never had one of those before.
Yeah. What a shame. Don't send any freak requests, guys. Ignore it, delete it, block it. Okay.
Venus Rising, not very original either. Yeah, thanks for that. I was so far behind on the other comments.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Keep up with everything. Thanks.
Yeah. Don't worry. It happens constantly. I mean, we find this even on posts. We get people from other sides of the world who suddenly comment and try and make people add them. Don't ever do it, guys, because it is just fraud. It's a fraudulent person.
Yeah, it might actually be on the Things Network. I'm not sure because it's going off on Paranormal Path, or it's going off on Things, or it's on. So it might actually be on the Things Network. So
yeah, just be careful.
So it's gone anyway. But yeah, I think most people know that. Oh dear, yeah. We can see the comments, but I think they've all gone. That's all good.
I know somebody there asked me earlier, and I can't remember who it was. They asked me what was my most famous, most haunted, when I worked with Most Haunted, what was my favourite venue with them. I've probably got to say Oxford Castle, because Oxford Castle's always had a bit of a space in my heart as well since I did it with Most Haunted. Remember, I did that in about 2007. So if anybody comments how young I look, I was young. Okay. So don't even comment,
yeah.
especially Phil Newton. Okay.
No.
We'll get you blocked, Phil. All right.
Oh dear. Yeah, we've got rid of the numpty anyway.
That's fine.
Thanks for Barry. But Barry's used
That's
to
all
them.
right.
I'm not.
I'm used to them. Yeah, I'll get rid of them. Delete them. Get rid.
There's only this random guy who joins me from YouTube, and he tries to make me read his stories. So I just take the rip out of him on air. I just find him amusing.
Yeah, I do.
But then the guest isn't ready for it because I'll just say something and just But he usually comes on, but he's not here today.
Rachel's asking us to do another event. Barry should really do another event. So many of us would love to join you, slightly putting pressure on you. I would love to. I really would, Rachel. I really, really would. A lot of it for me comes down to timing. Over the last sort of few months, I've had a few sort of healthy issues, nothing serious, but I need to get myself back on track, really. But yeah,
you were shattered last year as well, weren't you? You didn't have a wonderful year last year either. So I
have.
You get these times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't just do the paranormal, you know, and I don't just do mediumship. I have other companies that I'm involved with that I run as well, and I do find it quite exhausting at times, you know. So I try and spread myself very thinly, let's say that. So nowadays I have pulled back a little bit from some of the events. But yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to do an event. If anybody wanted us to do one for a charity event or as a one-off, then yeah, I'd happily look at it.
Yeah, all right then, yeah. I do. There you go.
Are you doing that? Is that you took the hint there?
Yeah, I will do. Alzheimer's research.
All
there
right,
we go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we'll sort something out then. Rachel, you want to help me?
Rachel's working on it. Rachel's working on it, Jackie. Just remember that.
Me and Rachel have actually been chatting recently, and we're going to be doing a lot of work together anyway. So,
I just want to give a big shout out to a wonderful friend of mine who's joined us, Claire Powell Pepper. Claire Powell Pepper gave me a reading many, many, many years ago, not knowing who I was at an event. And she's become such a valuable friend of mine, you know, somebody who I really admire and really think the world of. And we've started doing quite a few demonstrations together, which is lovely because the feedback from people, they love it how we work together. They love the energy. They love how we just bounce off of one another. So don't worry, there'll be a lot more coming with Claire because I love her to bits. She's a precious diamond. A wonderful medium. If you want a reading, for God's sake, get in touch with Claire. There's so many of them on here. Claire, Rachel, there's tons of them, absolutely tons of them. And I always see people.
There are some. Oh, Amanda Jane, she is.
Yeah, joined us as well.
Yeah, bless you.
But yeah, maybe that's what we do, Jackie, because we've got so many people saying
that we'll sort something out.
Would love to come on an event with us. I'd happily do it if we want to get everybody together and let's do it for a charity or something.
Yeah, well, you know, like I've mentioned, Alzheimer's killed my mum and dad. Basically, you know, it's there, isn't it? But yeah, we won't go on to that one. But yeah, so yeah, we'll sort something out. But
Definitely.
Yeah, so we're going to make this a happy Sunday. So if anyone's got any silly questions,
come on, let's have some silly questions.
Let's have some silly questions.
I always remember once somebody said to me, what's your most favorite thing in the whole wild world? And do you know what it is? Getting into a clean bed. I love clean bedding. I love my bedding pressed. I'm a proper old traditional person. You know, my bedding's got to be crisp, it's got to be crunchy, and it's got to be ironed.
That's my daughter's name, Crunchy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, she would have stood on it.
Oh.
She'd be very crunchy.
I'm trying to look. Dave Harper.
Yeah.
What's he put? I've had an experience in the past. Oh, right. Okay. Absolutely, Dave. Right. Okay. Dead easy. All right. Again, attend a group. Talk to Jackie. Talk to Rachel. There's a lot of them that do it. Okay. Depends where you live in the country. But, you know, the biggest thing for me with something like that is just going with the flow. You know, if you want to go to your local spiritualist church, see if they've got a group, get involved with like-minded people. You know, everybody loves to get together. You know, even on paranormal events, you will learn things about your own abilities, about your own mediumship. And the nice thing is, you actually meet like-minded people, unless they're totally off the rocker, like Rachel, like Jackie, like Claire, like Phil, like me, all right? But you'll meet like-minded people. So I
Yeah.
would advise go along and try it, just see what you pick up. Remember a lot of it, what we do on paranormal events, and this is why I'll always push mediumship on paranormal events. We're tuning into our own ability. So you'll get exactly the same thing as what I will, you will. And remember also that, mediumship, once you start working with it, it'll develop and it'll develop and it'll develop. It just keeps going. And I think certainly what you've got to look at is your own abilities will develop in your own time as well. Don't monitor yourself or don't rate yourself against anybody else, because things happen in our lives, don't they? And I always talk to people about personal experiences where something happens. Do I wear socks with sandals?
I know.
All right. I'm going to come to that in a minute.
Yeah, we will.
Personal experiences for me really do make a difference to you, because when you lose people that are close, you start opening up very sort of sympathetically, empathic wise, and you get a better link into the spirit world as well. So, spirit will always create things, circumstances, job situations, etc. I cannot believe, Sarah Edwards, you've asked that. I am a man of style and caliber, and I still don't get. I have to be very, very honest, Sarah. I used to wear, what did we used to call them in my day? We used to call them flip-flops, didn't we, in my day?
Flip-flops.
But I don't get now this whole image of, what do they call them? Sliders. Do they call them sliders now?
Oh, okay. Sliders.
Yeah, they call them sliders, and everybody has to wear socks with them. And I remember when we were kids, if we'd have seen somebody in flip-flops or sandals with socks, we'd have took the mickey out of them forever and a day. We really would. And certainly, no, I do not wear socks with flip-flops. The only time I wear socks is if I'm wearing shoes or trainers. All right, there you go. All right. But a lovely question. I love that.
Yeah. Socks and sandals. No.
Absolutely,
man.
My pet hate as
well.
well.
Here we go. Here's another one. How long do you think you'd survive as a zombie? I can't even say the word.
Well, that's simple. Well, that's really, really interesting. A zombie apocalypse.
You can't
what do I say? I don't know. I just go and hide. I just hide somewhere. But the only thing for me is, it's when you want food, isn't it? If you want
it's
food,
a food issue, isn't it?
Yeah. There's only so much food what you can hide in your pockets or in your bag. But I don't know. I've always wanted to do one of these. Do you remember when they used to do the zombie chases around Nottingham, where you went round the Nottingham Centre and basically you were being chased by zombies? Okay?
Wow, I missed out on that.
Oh, God, yeah.
Or was that an almost Saturday night?
Well, probably, yeah, probably. All right. Probably certain areas of Nottingham. But yeah, they actually did it where you paid and they used to chase you through Nottingham. So it was almost like you got to get away from them. But I don't know. That's a really good question. How long would I survive? I don't know. Probably until my chocolate stash ran out or something. Or I thought, actually, I need to just do a runner. But there you go. I'm not a great runner. I wasn't built for running. I was built for, well, I don't know what I was built for, but certainly not running. All right.
Right. Here we go again. How do I manage my spiritual side getting stronger?
Again, Sam, practice, mix with like-minded people, go along to paranormal events, have a go, jump in. If somebody says to you, do you want to do a lone vigil? Do it, for Christ's sake, okay? Have a go. And never be afraid. When I was always at events, I wanted people to ask me questions. I wanted them to ask me for help. And I always did, and I mean, anybody who's done a paranormal event with me over the years, you'll know I've always worked with Ouija boards, and I love them. And I'm sorry, that's just what I enjoy. But I get a lot of loved ones come through on Ouija boards for people. And I'll always get people who are working with me to use them, okay? And basically, I'll stand in the background and almost be a second point of communication for the spirit coming through. But certainly, have a go, for God's sake. I cannot fault anybody for having a go. And I have to say, I have no development workshops on at the moment, again, purely due to personal reasons. But who knows, probably come just after Christmas, I might start one up again. What I might do is do one locally, and then I might do an online one as well. So just to keep it going, really.
I certainly would want to be fair.
There you go. Get right in it.
List. Yeah. Yeah, because I have had development lessons, and yeah, I'm waiting for you to restart them.
Do you know,
And I want to do physical mediumship as well.
Oh God, love it! I love it. I've got to answer this from Shelley. Are you an adrenaline
Yeah.
junkie? Do you like roller coasters? Right. Do you know I am the biggest scaredy pants when it comes to anything like that? But I've got to say, Shelley, as soon as I'm on it and the adrenaline hits, I love it. I could just go round and round and round and round and round and round in circles. And the only one that I refuse to do, and I have to be really, really honest, was the big one at Blackpool. I refused to go on that.
Nothing. That's easy.
Oh God, no, not a chance. I would sooner do something more scarier than that. It's the fact that I can see it up in the air, and I'm thinking if I'm going to be stood up there or sat up there and stuck, I want to get down ASAP. But yeah, I am a bit of an adrenaline junkie, not as much as what I used
my
to.
gosh!
But I used to do things like potholing many years ago.
Oh God, no!
I used to do abseiling, and I loved it. I love things like that.
Now that sounds stuff I wouldn't do. Yeah, when I go like in Nottingham, we've got a great big fair called Goose Fair.
Yeah, yeah.
And whenever I've been, I like look at the ones in the air, and they're the ones I go on. Anything else is boring and tame. So yeah, and now it physically kills me a bit. You get more dizzy on them, don't you? And it takes longer to recover.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
my nephew, his thing is theme park, so he loves like sort of going on the ride. So he'll have me go on the waltzers with him.
Oh,
so yeah, I've got to go on the waltzers, and he gets off, and there's me like, oh, okay. Grabbing the handrail.
Do you know, I'm just laughing at the question from Tracy Britton. Do you sleep with the lights on or the lights off? If I've done a paranormal event or something spooked me, I sleep with the lights on. If I'm all right, I sleep with the lights off. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I do. When I get spooked, I do sleep with the lights on.
I never realised. Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm rubbish, aren't I? I really am rubbish. I tell you. No.
Oh no, that.
Yeah. What?
Oh,
yeah. It sure what? I missed that.
Sandals and fishnets.
Oh no, that'd be Phil. Phil would do that. That'd be Phil. Yeah, Phil would do that, not me. I'm a man of
Phil did wear fishnets one Christmas. I think we did a Christmas podcast and we had fancy dress, and I'm sure. Yeah. Silly question. I like this. Are washing machines a portal to another dimension of socks?
A great one. Do you know, we've all got the odd sock, haven't we, that's been in the washing machine and not come out.
You know what?
Again.
It's stated in my first divorce.
What, the washing machine at your clothes?
No, that I kept losing socks.
I love it. Do you know, who knows? I don't know. Probably it is. Probably we have a portal there to the dark side that eats all your socks. I don't know.
But it does. Even if you buy the same colour, you get like loads of the same colour. You still end up with one, and the rest just go missing. I don't know what happens, but it's absolutely massively. It's weird.
Oh God, all the time. I'm terrible. Oh, I'm terrible. Once you get me laughing, sorry I would say this, people are going to love me for this or hate me. If it's at somebody else's expense, God help you, because yes, I will rib it all night long. Normally, if it's mine, I'm a bit moody though, and I don't like being taken the mickey out of. But anybody else, I love it. And yeah, I do get the giggles. I do get the giggles during paranormal things. And once you get me going, stopping me is a nightmare. You really can.
So, sort of on from that, what was the weirdest, like, you get some random, like, say, like, you get a message, you've got to give what you get. What is the most random comment or the most random thing that you've had to deliver to somebody on a reading, if you can say it?
Oh God, yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. Yeah, probably about people having affairs and things, and especially when the partner's sat next to them, and you see the face suddenly hit the floor, and it's like, oh my God. But it does come out, at times, and I'm terrible because I will make a situation out of it, if you know what I mean. I will go on about it almost to pick on somebody. So God, I always say this at a demonstration, God help you if you're having an affair, because if it comes out, I will let everybody know. Okay. And probably it's dropped a few people in on it. But I remember many, many years ago, a very good friend of mine, Mags, who I think you might know, a lovely lady from near Solihull in Birmingham. And I've known her for years. Now, I remember Mags I did an event at Tutbury Castle. So that was probably nearly 20 years ago, probably is 20 years ago now. And I gave Mags a reading. And I remember saying to her something about there's an adoption, you'll find this name, this is where it is, this is what it is. And she found every detail. And the thing was, we actually become very good friends, and we still are very good friends as well. Okay. So I've got some great people who I've read for over the years who are still very dear friends of mine, you know, very precious to me, and they always will be.
Oh, bless you. It is amazing the people that you actually do meet. Oh, here you go. Got another person wanting to join you. Online development. So yeah,
Of course
we'll.
you can, anytime. Love you to bits,
Oh,
Bonnie. You can
Bonnie's
join me anytime,
lovely.
sweetheart.
Yeah, she
You're
helps me out.
fantastic. As long as
Oh,
Phil
no.
Newton don't want to join, we're fine. I love
Hi,
Phil. He knows that.
Samantha.
He
You're
knows
all
that I'm
right.
taking the mickey out of him.
Oh,
But I
so
mean,
Shelley doesn't do spinning.
but, you know, it's funny because I really I do miss the paranormal. You know, as I said earlier, paranormal will always be part of my life, and you know, it'll always be the one thing that really does touch me greatly. You know, in terms of experiences. But you know, I probably started to look at other areas latterly. You know, and as people know, you know, I've got a well-being events company, a mind, body, and spirit company that we set up many years ago. You know, and the idea of that was really to get new people out in the market to support people who wanted to be mediums, you know, and look at the Derek Acora Memorial Award. You know, I mean, working with people like Derek, Colin, some of the really classical names in the market, you know, have really taught me a lot of things, you know, and people do ask me, they always say, oh, does Colin come through? Does Derek come through? Well, not really, no, because you know, the only time they would communicate is if they want to pass a message on to their partners or family for me, okay? But obviously, Colin, for me, was a good friend for probably somewhere in the region 15, 20 years. Derek, I knew for probably a similar amount of time as well. And I am still very, very, very good friends with his wife, Gwen, you know, and we chat a lot, you know, we're big communicators together. And when Derek died, it was hard for everybody really because he was such a passionate guy, you know, such a nice gentleman who'd helped so many. And we agreed to do the Derek Acora Memorial Award, really, which was to help new and budding people to get out into the market. Sarah May won one, Rachel's won one as well. And it's really just giving them a bit of recognition that, you know what, you're doing a damn good job. Keep doing it, keep going with it, you know, and it just gives somebody that little bit of a pat on the back because getting into the mediumship world, the metaphysical world, isn't easy. And people always talk to me about it and say, you know, how do I get well known? How do people find me? You know, do you know what? It's took me a long time. It really has to get well known. And you know, you know, as you know, I've done a lot of TV, a lot of radio. I've done a lot of charity events as well over the years, really to help people, not for self-promotion. And one of the reasons I did the TV side of things was really to show people that there's a professional arena for us. You know, we are professional people and that we all have this ability. You know, and I will always push that. And as you mentioned earlier, Jackie, you know, Dr. Cal Cooper, who's a really good friend of mine, you know, we have some very deep, meaningful conversations about mediumship. And, you know, I'll always support Cal in anything I can, you know, and same as Ben. I know Ben's just joined us now, Ben Winfield as well.
Oh, Ben's cool.
Who again, I met Ben
It's
very
amazing.
accidentally a couple of years ago now. In fact, I think it was about 2 years ago. I've forgotten now. But a lovely guy, you know, we've had some great chats about things. So for me, as I've sort of developed and I've actually come out the other side in a way, you know, I've started to slow down a little bit. I want to push people. I want to help people now to get other things out in the market, to look at other ideas. I promote people's events a lot more now. Any sort of, you know, anybody that asks me, I'll help. Even if I can't go myself, I'll help and promote it. And I've always done that as well.
Yeah, I was just trying to find the comment which someone's not read, but we'll have to check that later on.
Tanya Wheeler, how do you switch off and relax? You are a very busy man. I don't. I simply don't. I mean, I have to be honest. I work 7 days a week, probably near enough 24/7. I never stop. Simple as, if I feel that somebody needs a reading, I will ensure that I can get somebody in for a reading. Remember that my list now at the moment is probably up to about sort of February, March time next year in terms of bookings. I always keep a few, let's call it emergency slots to one side for people who I feel need a reading. Okay. But also we do have a cancellation list. And if anybody was desperate, we just look on the cancellation list. The only problem from that is you don't always get a lot of choice, because I just have to go with what's available. But I have to be honest, Tanya, I have slowed it down a lot. I certainly don't do the amount of readings that I used to do now. But, I'll probably realize with age that happiness of life, health, is more important to me, really. So, so I've took my time out a little bit.
Got Wendy as well. So
I know. Do you know what? This is lovely. This is like,
a lot from the lesson are coming through, aren't they?
I feel a little bit like this is your life, because all these people are coming back from my past who I love to bits. Wendy, I remember Wendy sitting with us in group, Jackie. Can you remember? Many years ago.
Yeah.
And a lovely, lovely lady who has gone on to do so much, and I admire her. She's got into her art, she's got into her mediumship, she's hitting the gym. And I love her. I love her to bits. So well done to anybody. But lovely to see some of these great names.
Like
really.
Shelley as well, and Vaughn and Gina and all of us. We're in the lesson, Rachel. So and this is the thing, you get to meet people, and this is it, isn't it?
And this is why I can't stress enough to people, coming to like your show tonight, going to paranormal events. I think there's so much that people can learn from one another. I really do.
Okay, I've got another one.
Yeah, all right. I'll let you deal with that one. But I think it's don't stop supporting one another. That'd be my message. Don't stop supporting one another. Keep looking at what's out there. And never ever give up until you find something that you really want to do. And that's where I suppose we all want to get to in our lives. It's not about TV fame. It's not about magazines, media, traveling, none of that at all. The reason I've done it is to give people peace of mind, and in a nice way to help people grieve and get over situations. And that's the biggest thing about what I do. I want to help people move on in life somewhere down the line.
Yeah. That's it. Like I was never really into mediumship, and it kind of found me before I lost my mum, then I lost my dad. And it is an amazing world, and I have sort of done some readings, and it's like I did one at your classes. Somebody started crying, and then that kind of really upset me. But you're giving them the message of what they, which is a comfort, isn't it? And it's nice to be able to do that.
I remember Jackie doing a little pub not too far away from here, up near Blythe, just up the A1 from me. And I remember doing a little pub there many years ago, a good few years ago, and I read for this lady, and she come up to me afterwards in absolutely tears. And I said to her, "What's the matter?" And I thought, "Oh God, I've upset her." And she says, "I've waited 27 years for my father to come through, and you're the first one that's ever brought him through." And that for me hit me right in the stomach, because I thought she really needed peace. And that lady, for 27 years, all she wanted was an element of comfort, I suppose, really, from her father.
Yeah, that's right.
And it doesn't break my heart. It touches my heart, is the way that I'll say it.
Yeah, it's so sort of beautiful when it can help people, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So many people around there who cause trouble, about mediumship, we go, "Oh, this, that," and really, like, if only they understood what it was. And
absolutely, and this brings me on to probably one of the final things that I wanted to mention was about events, demonstrations, where one of the things I've realized latterly is a lot of the smaller ones that I was doing are so tiring and exhausting with the amount of travel. And we've started to cut a lot of them back now, because what we're trying to focus on is, I don't want to say bigger events, but events where we can get more people there in a way, and I don't want people to think there suddenly I'm going to start doing thousands and thousands of people. That's not what I'm saying. But what I want is good venues where they're very central for people to get to. They're easy to travel to, and more people can get to them. Because what I was doing was a lot of the small sort of little local sort of coffee shops and that, and people can't get in enough because they don't hold enough people, and they only do it once, and then people have to wait until the next year. So we're going to start doing a few bigger events now, and that's what we'll concentrate on.
Yeah. So if there's any venues, it's like theatres, is it? What you're looking at, something like that?
Not theatres, no,
Oh,
because
that's
I
fine.
think I have to be very honest. I think theatres have ended the days, and they ended many years ago because, there isn't the money there anymore. The
Oh
numbers
yeah.
weren't there. I mean, you look at how people were selling out, and years ago they used to sell out constantly, and then suddenly you were finding numbers were dropping substantially. So for me, it's looking at numbers of like 100,
Yeah.
around those sort of figures where people can get in, because
Yeah.
it's all well and good doing the smaller venues, but as I say, you can't get in because literally as soon as they advertise, they sold out.
Yeah. Right. I've just got this then. So remember, Von, I remember when you explained to me what was actually happening regarding her abilities. I was
Oh,
shocked and so relieved. I remember that moment forever. Thank you.
oh, bless you. Well, you needed it. You must have needed it at that moment in time, and I'll always do that. People that know me, irrelevant whether you want to read it or not, you can always message me, and I will respond. Obviously, it's not a private reading, but I will respond and give you some guidance or
Oh,
give you
sure.
something to try. Even if it's just a different way to do your mediumship, etc. I'll always offer that advice.
The quick one from Tanya. At what age did you see or sense your first spirit?
Looking back, probably to be a child there, Tanya, things that
Wow.
used to happen to me, I couldn't explain. I remember I used to see like shadows or visions or things falling from the sky. And probably looking back, I'd say it was an element of spirit communication. I remember loved ones visiting me when I was younger and popping back to say hello, whatever you wish to call it. And I think things happen to us in our lives where we need it. We need that comfort. Even me as a medium, I need that comfort from a loved one over the other side at times.
Yeah. It's weird how things happen for a reason as well.
Mm,
Like, I've just been
absolutely.
camping, I had a lovely week. And then I thought, oh, shall I cook breakfast or eat out? And then the tent blew down. And it's really weird, it's like, and unfortunately, it had everything in it. I was just about to cook breakfast. I don't know what that was saying, but it's an air tent. So it just got hammered, or it managed the whole week, but all of a sudden it got hammered when I
Oh
was like
God,
partially packing it, and it
gosh.
was weird. And
Oh
things
God.
like that, isn't it? It kind of made
I
a
know.
decision for me one way or another.
I know. I
Kind of a
know.
challenge, but hey,
Hello,
yeah,
everyone. Hello, Wayne. Nice of you to join us.
you just do have these weird things what do
Well,
happen,
I
don't
think,
you?
I mean, somebody mentioned something earlier. I think spirit will put us in touch with like minded people, and very often you find this. I mean, I find now that I get talking to people totally out of the blue, wherever it is, in the pub or whatever. And you get talking to them, and suddenly you're starting to get this whole sort of barrage of how things have happened to them, what they've been through, that they've maybe lost a loved one. And I think, all right, okay, this is why I was meant to talk to them. And probably again, as somebody mentioned earlier, that's where spirit put you in touch with people because they need it. They need that help in a
Yeah.
strange way.
Got a question here from Carl. Um, so he sensed when the grandparents are around him, and he can sense his dad. But as for Mum, when she died in 2008, it's like she is gone. Not once have I felt her around.
Well, that's interesting, and I do have my view on this. Remember, these will always be my views. Okay, where probably with that, Carl, I would say there's a very deep emotion between you and Mum, where maybe she doesn't want to come back to upset you or come back to, make you feel sad in a strange way. Okay, so what I would say is, have a chat with her in your mind and go, you know what, Mum, it's all right. You know, I'm not going to get upset. We all get upset when spirit come through. Trust me, even I do. Even if it's not for me, it's for others a lot of the time. And I think you just need to reassure her that, you know what, it's okay. You can visit me once in a while. And they will do, trust me, they will. And you'll just know, you know, you'll get a sense of feeling this, you know, even if you just break down in tears, it doesn't matter. You know, I think jumping back to what Jackie said a few minutes ago, when somebody really, really, really needs it, they'll come to you, okay, simple as. But I'd have a chat with your mum, Carl, and I would just go, come on, mum, if you're there, I'm happy for you to come and have a chat with me. I'm not scared. It's not going to upset me. I just want to feel your energy around me and do that. Just have a chat with her.
Yeah, Carl does pick up on things because we
Yeah.
recently did the Robin Hood. And,
Oh, brilliant. And yeah, the
Carl
Robin Hood
picked up on
experience.
quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't get anything because of something going off with that place and me, but
Yeah.
hey, past life stuff. But yeah, it's
No.
interesting.
Big shout out to Gaz Cresswell. Love Gaz to bits. He's my twin. Great guy. Does a lot of sort of life coaching. If anybody's interested, get in touch with Gaz Cresswell. You'll find him on Facebook. If not, drop me a message or look on mine. You'll find him. Tremendous guy. I have a lot of time for Gary. I really do. He's helped me
cool.
helped me a lot. Put it that way.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, welcome, Gaz. Just a question then. Do you come across spirit who you don't want to acknowledge?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, remember, if they're difficult if they were difficult when they're down here, they're difficult over the other side. And you will find some spirit just don't want to communicate with you, and it's hard work. And as a medium, you need that flow of information, and it's not just with your sitter, it's with the spirit world as well. And if I find a spirit that I'm working with starts to let me call it drain me, or I think this is hard work, and I'll just cut the link. I'll cut the link and just ask for somebody else to come in. And you'll know straight away because the energy lifts, okay? And again, what I will reiterate, if the person was, let's call it miserable down here or not a nice person, they're exactly the same over the other side. If they were hard work when they were here, they're hard work over the other side as well. So, you know, I just cut them out. I really do. I just go over them in effect because I just think I haven't got time for this. And pardon how I say this, that's for the same for people that I do sit-ins for as well. If I'm doing a demonstration and I know that I've got something right and the sitter in front of me at a demonstration is being, let's call it a little bit difficult, I will just cut out the reading and I'll just move on to somebody else.
Yeah, that's it. Time's too short, isn't it? You know,
absolutely.
If you said everything you can, what else can you do? So you've got it, haven't you?
Yeah, and the hardest thing with demonstrations, as I always say to people, these are not private readings. There isn't enough time. You know, when I do a demonstration, I probably do, I don't know what, an hour and a half to 2 hours roughly. And that's a lot, you know, I mean, and I give a lot of readings within that time. But, you know, the problem is I don't want to be exhausted. It does tire me out. And what tires me out a lot of the time is working with the sitters that don't want to work with me or the ones that I find it hard. All I ask for is communication, somebody to acknowledge me, somebody to talk to me, answer yes and no's, you know, and just work with me and the reading will be better. It really will.
Yeah, that's right. Has somebody ever tried to control you? Something dark?
An interesting question, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head. So nothing comes to mind. I mean, I've had circumstances where I felt uncomfortable, if I can refer to that, especially on paranormal events, where I've just thought I just need to get out of this room. I don't like this energy at all. And I think that goes back to what I was saying a few minutes ago about if somebody's difficult when they're down here, they're the same over the other side. If somebody's nasty down here, they're nasty over the other side. And I think you just have to remember that. And you know, I mean, I have to use a personal experience on this, you know, where, you know, my own grandfather, you know, my mother's side, my grandfather on that side wasn't a nice man at all. You know, and if ever I felt a link with him, I'd just cut the link because it's too tiring for me.
I think we'll probably do the last question then because
that's all right.
Oh, here we go. So, from your mate then, Have you ever
My
had a
twin
past
brother.
life regression done on yourself?
Absolutely, Phil, and I love it. You know, I mean, I've worked with them in terms of mediumship. I've worked with them in terms of meditative states. I love past life regression, and I think when you start delving into it, it tells you so much about things that you go through in this life as well. About, I don't know, maybe things that you're scared of, where you've got phobias of things as well. And I think this is something that we all have to be mindful of, is things that we're going through in this life. I do believe a lot of the time we carry over from a past life situation. So things that maybe we didn't deal with or we didn't sort out, for instance, and it just seems to reoccur over and over again. Maybe things like valuing your family, valuing your partner, valuing your money situation, those sort of things. But I think certainly, you know, past life regression really does interest me. I love it. I love talking to people about past lives, and where the connections are, really. So yeah, love it. I love doing it. Love trying it. It's not really my forte, but I've helped people a lot of the time through meditative sort of past life regression states.
Mine's too complicated. I've got
Keep life simple.
I've got 2 past lives in Nottingham.
Have you?
Yeah, one in the 1200s
Oh
and
gosh.
one in the 1800s.
Oh gosh.
Where I was stood to trial in the galleries of justice.
You weren't laid out on the table, were you? The big table there.
No, because I pulled out of it because I was standing in the dock
Oh
and
God.
I knew I was going to be hung. So I pulled out of it quick.
Oh,
I need to go back in. I've got to go back into that one. And,
should we do
yeah.
one last one? Should we do one last one, and
Yeah.
then we'll
We've got Gary. Have you found the energies in and around summer solstice period the last couple of weeks? How you found it?
I think for me, I tend to be very aware of summer solstices and certain circumstances throughout the year. And what I almost do is pre-prepare for them. I know that it's going to knock me out or knock me off at times, or it's going to pick me up depending what it is. So I'll always make time for it. So there'll be times where probably I won't book readings in. Sometimes, and I've always said this, if I don't think I'm in a good state of mind to give a reading, I will cancel readings because I want people to get the best reading out of me as well. So yeah, so certainly I think circumstances do affect us very much. Let's say that.
Oh, bless you. And I've just one more quick one from Wayne. So I was recently found that I'm seeing, hearing, and sensing more from spirit since my childhood. Did you ever find this when starting as a medium?
Yeah, I did. I did a lot of things that I used to go through in younger years. I think were preparing me for where I was in life, and I think the spirit world will hold off you until you are ready for it as well. So, you know, maybe you go through a circumstance when you're younger that prepares you, but maybe it's not meant to come to fruition for another 10, 15 years. And especially when we start to get into adulthood, as I call it, because I think then we value things very differently. And I don't mean monetary value. I mean, we start looking at life differently. We look at what's important to us and what's not important anymore. You know, monetary value is certainly not important. What's important to us is life, friendship, loved ones, and the spirit world for me. You know, I'll always go out my way for people as much as I can. And that's probably why I end up as tired as I do at times.
Oh, bless you. So, yeah, thanks for the chat. It's been wonderful. Just got some last comments. And massive thank you from Rachel. Life has changed so much in the last year. Met so many wonderful and supportive people.
Bless
this
her.
is thanks to you and believing in Rachel and everyone on here tonight. I'm sure he'll say something similar to Earth Angel. Fun as well. Fantastic. You're such a beautiful soul. Thanks so much for the support you gave me. Thanks. Yeah. Lovely listening, Amanda.
Oh, you're welcome. You're choking me up now. Now stop, because everybody's sentimental.
No, you are. Loads of love and white light to love you both. Oh, thank you.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, so yeah.
Oh, stop it, everybody, now, because
No,
you're going
I
to
get
have me in tears.
tears.
Everybody's saying thank you.
we,
Love you, Sarah, mate. Love you
we, we,
all. Love everybody.
we were trying not to be too serious tonight, but
We were.
yeah,
We
it
were going
kind
to
of
have a
does
bit of
it.
fun tonight,
Yeah.
weren't we? And everybody's made
But,
me cry now.
we did the socks and sandals, didn't we?
We did, yeah. Socks and sandals, definitely no, unless you're Phil Newton. Phil Newton probably does socks and sandals, and probably Y front pants as well, knowing
Oh,
Phil.
round his head or something. I don't know. So what you achieve, Rachel. Oh yeah, Rachel is fantastic, and yeah, we'll be doing some work with Rachel in the future. But yeah,
Wonderful.
we've had a chat about that this week. So
well, you're
yeah,
welcome
all good.
anytime.
So
Anytime, you
thanks,
know where I am.
and everyone look after each other and make the most of life and your friends and family and everything, and sending healing out to people who need it, especially someone who's quite close as well. Okay, so take care. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing, and look after yourselves. Bye.